So, I was in a relationship for about 4.5 years, if I remember correctly. And that relationship was the absolute classic avoidant, anxious dance, with her being the anxious one and me being the avoidant one, of course. I say, of course, but I've mentioned this before, I think, which is all people have anxiousness and avoidance in them, which within the right context and situation in a relationship, any given relationship, can be triggered. So, these aren't psychiatric diagnostic labels and genetic dispositions and all this stuff. It's just patterns, right? Anyway, in this relationship, she was extremely anxious, and I became extremely avoidant. I don't think I was like that in the beginning, although the avoidant often isn't, is he? So there was one particular moment fairly early on in the relationship where she gifted me something. It was, I can't remember if it was around my birthday or if it was for anything in particular, but it was like a weekend a thing at a hotel, and probably a spa thing as well. We did that quite a few times, if I remember correctly. So she gifted me this thing, and shortly after surprising me with this, she became, her mood was not good, and I picked up on that first. And then she pointed out to me that I hadn't received it very well. Like, I hadn't expressed much gratitude. I think specifically, I hadn't actually said the words thank you. And as she pointed it out, I realized she was right, actually. I did not feel an immense amount of gratitude. And actually, if anything, what I came to pick up on, and I needed her to point it out to me for me to feel into this, I was not very conscious at this time, was that I actually felt kind of weird about it. I had a kind of, repulsion is a strong word, but I had an anti feeling around the whole thing. And I didn't know why. This is terrible light in here today. Well, I'm driving. It's a shame you can't see the other direction. I'm looking at the ocean again today. Anyway, yeah, I felt off. Something, I didn't feel good around it. And I said, and I just had to point out to her, wow, I'm sorry. You're right. I don't know. And I think I probably made some excuse, like, you know what, I'm really stressed at the moment. I'm not focusing on things, because yeah, I did have some shit going on in my life at the time. I really shouldn't have gone into this relationship, to be quite honest with you, for that reason alone. But anyway, so I made some excuse or whatever, and it wasn't until I was awestruck for a second there. There's a whole like gang of motorcycles ahead of me. It looks pretty cool. Oh, and more behind me. You might hear them or see them drive past. What is going on here? Hell's Angels. I always think that looks so cool. It looks like such freedom. But nah, I can't be risking my life like that. Fuck that. Motorcycles. Anyway, this has taken a long time to tell this story. So I made some excuse, and it wasn't until some time after the relationship that I did a kind of post-mortem on this where I looked at what was that about? Why did why was I not able to receive that? And what I think it comes down to for me, and what I've definitely seen in other people since this experience for myself, is that in this anxious avoidant dynamic, i.e., the anxious person is, let's say, very needy, to put it extremely simply, right? When there's that neediness, everything they do comes with a covert contract, an unspoken thing of, if I do this for you, then I expect XYZ from you. And, it's usually very deep. Fucking hell. It's usually very unconscious on their part. And it's not like necessarily, if I buy you this thing, then I want you to buy me a thing. No, it's actually deeper than that. It's more like, if I show you this love in whatever way, and it might be, in this case, the buying of a physical gift, it might be the doing of a thing, some act of service, then you will love me. You will love me in a way that alleviates my anxiety. And, and I'm not trying to read her mind or whatever. I can't speak for her, but I'm just sort of throwing things out of what I've seen this be for various people who experience this kind of relationship anxiousness. I might have to turn off and let these guys go somewhere else, because I imagine you're picking up on this sound. All right, let these fuckers go. But it might be that you will love me in a way that alleviates my anxiousness. It will be that you reassure me that you will never leave. It's that you will make me feel special and chosen and wanted in such a way that it fills that void of those things that I've had since childhood. You get the deal. And so what often happens then is, in the already avoidant person, and in this case myself, who already has certain unconscious fears of intimacy, that will freak your nervous system the hell out. And it will all be below the conscious level. So it's not like I had some thought of, oh, this is coming from some place where she wants something from me that is unspoken. But I think I was picking up on something like that. And there was, instead of this gift feeling then, and again, this applies to acts of service and things as well, the feeling then was not, oh, this is great, thank you, this is awesome, it's so lovely of you, and I'm so grateful for you and what you've done for me here. Instead, again, unconsciously, it was, yeah, this feels like a trap. This feels like an agreement that I didn't necessarily sign up for. This feels like there's more here than what is being said. And the thing with men in general, perhaps, is what I found is men feel all of that. Again, they might not be conscious to it, but we are particularly sensitive to the unspoken, because we have this radar inside, which is asking the question of, am I in trouble? There is nothing more terrifying to a certain part of a man's psyche than a woman who has stuff going on below the surface that she's not saying. And a lot of the time for men, that's like, I'm in trouble and I don't even know why or how or whatever. And so along similar lines is this dynamic of this gift, this act of service, this loving thing isn't exactly what it appears to be. And it might not be terrible. It might not be you're going to get in trouble if you accept this. It might not be that this is going to lead to bad things for you. I think it's subtler than that. I think it's when we can sense that there is an expectation here that is actually unfulfillable. And what that then taps into in men is this intense aversion that we have of failure. Because if I'm in that situation, then I'm essentially being set up to lose. Because the truth is, no one can ever love anyone in such a way that it fills that void of, I feel unimportant. I need to feel so chosen that my anxiety goes away. I need to feel, I need you to love me more than I love myself or have ever felt loved by anyone, right? All of that is impossible. Nobody can do that for you. So it's inherently setting someone up to lose. And so all of that going on below the surface, and I had this first experience of being given something and some alarm bell going off in my head, again, completely unconsciously, about this thing, which meant that I couldn't receive that gift. And the way that manifested is what you could call on the surface ungratefulness. And it was. That's a perfectly fine description. It's just not the whole story, right? So I've had many conversations with many women where they don't know why they always feel a distinct lack of appreciation and gratitude around the things that they do for him. And when we inquire and find out that maybe not entirely, but a certain percentage to varying degrees of that intent, of that act of service, of that loving thing, is actually some kind of giving to get. Is actually the expectation is that when he expresses that gratitude and that appreciation, it will, and if it ever, to whatever degree, that expectation is that it will alleviate some deeper thing within her, that is the degree to which he will not receive it. And actually, it's entirely appropriate that he has that response, right? Do you like being given gifts with unspoken expectations that favor will be repaid one day? No one likes that shit, right? So, yeah, and what happens is that when that is tended to, when those deeper inner scripts, as we call them, are tended to, then suddenly, boop, like overnight, he becomes more grateful for the things that she does do, right? And it might be that nothing particularly changes on the surface. She's still doing that same thing. She's still, giving that same gift, whatever it might be. But the energy of it has completely changed. And suddenly he's able to receive it because it doesn't come with any hidden side orders of expectation. So, yeah, that was my first and really main experience of feeling that, and me having this distinct lack of gratitude, and without even realizing that had happened until she pointed it out, and then being slightly confused as to why that is. And I've spoken to men in that situation as well, where they're like, I know she does these things, and I know I should be more grateful and I should show more appreciation, but it's like I don't even think about it. I don't even see it. And they too are slightly confused by their own lack of ability to receive this thing. And again, when we explore that a little bit, it's often that they are feeling the unspoken.